Before we begin today, can we have a toast to Xander Rice, who absolutely went ballistic, 5 of 5 from three-point range last night, giving us the comfortable cover over Northeastern. And again, if you watched the movement on that line, it was 3.5, then it was 2.5, then it was 1.5. To quote The Rock, it doesn't matter the way the line moves. You make your handicap. If it moves in your favor, that's great CLV. That's sprinkles on the Sunday. But don't panic just because the line may not be going in your favor. Mike Randle, folks, FTN. Ready to rock and roll. Scalding hot here at FTN. We went 6-1 on Sunday and 1-0 yesterday. So we got the banner going there. Of course, FTN wins gets you 10% off here at FTN Bets. We're going to keep it rolling. Let's get into the games today. I put this out on Twitter. Hardest slate of games to handicap, I think, all season because we have favorites on the road. We have conference play. We have teams that have lost. It's a little frisky. So back and forth. Here we go. Take a shot at it. Some I like a lot more than others. I'll make sure to make a comment. We got comments flying in. Rob, it's another beautiful day for college basketball. You're gosh darn right it is. Trevor, if you weren't here, I would go looking for you, my friend. I can tell you that right now. And Xander Rice. Yes, Trevor, Xander Rice. We love Xander Rice. Here we go, folks. Let's get into it. Now, this first one I'm going to tell you about, Dr. Tony, Gus Kearns was on the pod, my friend Rob Regassa. We're all college basketball fans. We got a text chain going. Dr. Tony went to Columbia. Saved a man's life, by the way, also. Dr. Tony, very accomplished. He's a Columbia grad. He's all fired up at the Columbia Alliance here, okay? So I was trying to handicap this game. And yes, when these teams played, they hit 180 points last year. Dr. Tony's reaction to this text is what put me on the under here because he, to me, represents Joe Public. He's Columbia. He's a fan. He's fired up. And his initial instinct, without looking at the line, is what I wanted to get a read on. I was leaning to the under. And when I heard him say to me, oh, that game's going to go flying over because it went flying over last year, that's why we go in the under. My thought is this. I think Columbia is very good. I think they're better than they have been, and I think this year they're legit, and I don't think anyone's giving them credit because when you think of the Ivy, you think Princeton, you think Harvard, you think Penn. If the game is close and Jim Ingles can keep this game close, they're going to have to keep this score down. They don't want to run up and down the court with Cornell, who's number 1 in the country, 63% at scoring inside the arc, and they're a top 20 pace. So I think the game's going to be close. I don't know if they're going to cover the 11.5, 12. I could see this being close for a while and Cornell pulling away late. And I don't want to be involved in any of that garbage. But we're going to go under, which is actually at 169 now. It's at 163. It was going up. I think it's getting a little too high. We're going to go under 169. I'm well aware that Cornell could go out and bomb away and get a ton of points here. But at home this year, they did score 91 against Monmouth, but they can get up and down the floor. They've scored 90 several times. But if the game is close like it was at home against Colgate, 77-64. I think Columbia keeps this game close. I don't think they get blown out at least for the majority of the game, maybe foul trouble, something. So we're going under. Next pick. I'm taking Georgetown. Listen, Seton Hall has been playing very well. Just a superb job by Shaheen Holloway. One of the things I didn't understand is that Seton Hall, I think Shaheen Holloway is a really good coach. Obviously, St. Petersburg, Kentucky, the whole thing. They struggled early on. They were 5-4. They lost 4 of their 5 games. But I think it's time for some regression here. They played Xavier away. They beat UConn at home. They played Xavier away, lost that game by 20. Providence away, big win. Bryce Hopkins got hurt in that game. So I don't know if they win that game, Bryce Hopkins doesn't get hurt. And they beat Marquette at home. A lot of efforts here. Now it's Georgetown, a struggling Georgetown team. Not really great metrically, but they do defend the 3 well, so they should be able to contain Seton Hall a little bit. And Seton Hall can struggle on offense and go through spurts where they really struggle. On the road, covering 7.5. They've been hot, have had some big games. Bit of a letdown. Georgetown, good defending the 3. Don't trust Seton Hall's offense here. We're going to take 7.5 with them as well. This may go against what a lot of people have said. I saw it pre-chat. It was actually in there, but I will explain this one. VCU, Dave Odom does a good job with VCU, and they have lost their last 2 games, but that's the exact reason why I'm taking them here. They lost at home to St. Bonaventure. They lost at home to George Washington. Now they're going away to George Mason. I think this line's a little too much now. Still a VCU team that can turn you over. Still a VCU team that shoots 78% from the free throw line. Still a VCU team that defends inside the arc really well. Now we're playing George Mason. George Mason's 2-0, won at LaSalle, ho-hum, beat St. Louis at home, who's not very good. We know that. Right now with Travis Ford on the hot seat, his son is potentially making burner accounts. That's a big investigation going on. They're also good defensively, but they do rely on the 3 a lot. I'm going to take the 3 points here. I think this is a buy low spot on VCU. I don't think they're that bad. They're not going to want to go 0-3. You're going to get a desperate response today from VCU. And I don't trust George Mason. So I'm going to take VCU plus 3.5 points. Ivy League battle, 7.5 on the road. I will take Brown getting the 7.5 points against Yale. Yes, Yale has looked fantastic, and they have some big, big wins. Played tough at Kansas, but they're coming off a Howard game away where it was in overtime. They almost lost. They don't defend the 3 well. They don't really turn you over. They are good on the boards, but Brown has competed well, too, under Mike Martin. They don't make free throws, Brown, but they have been able to keep games close. Look at the last few games they've played. Rhode Island away, they actually won rivalry game. Played Providence away. They kept that game close for a long time and just lost it late. I don't think they covered. I think it was like 18 points. Siena home, they won by 4. Stony Brook away, always tough to play at Stony Brook. They only lost by 4. Vermont at home, they lost by 1. Good Vermont team. They're winning for a while. 7.5, a lot of points. Taking it here, not taking Yale to win by 8 points on the road. How about Wake getting away from home here? How about Wake going on the road to Florida State? Florida State is always a team I struggle to handicap. Well, that's been Duquesne, although we've been hot lately with Duquesne, folks. Florida State beat Georgia Tech at home by 11, beat Virginia Tech at home. Good Virginia Tech team. Here comes Wake. I want to see Wake and Steve Forbes do it on the road. They did win at Boston College, but that to me is not comparable. Since their loss on a neutral to LSU, Wake Forest has played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games at home, and they did beat Miami, but that was without Wooga Poplar, and they almost lost that game. I think this is a tough spot. I think you see an 11-3 Wake Forest team. I think you see a 3-0 in the ACC Wake Forest team, and I think you naturally gravitate to them. I don't like it here. I like Florida State. I like their length. I think they can disrupt Wake Forest. Wake Forest likes to shoot the 3. I think they're going to be beat on the boards with Florida State, which this team can really pound you. Be aggressive, like Leonard Hamilton. Again, selling here on Wake Forest. I like Wake. They've done a good job. They're very good, especially at home. I think you give it back here a little bit. I love getting the points here at home. You look at Rutgers when they've played Indiana, and Rutgers is always very tough at home. I'm going to pull it up here right now. Rutgers in their last when they're home, they are just a different animal. And you're going to get a Rutgers team that needs this win in the absolute worst way today. Rutgers in their games, and now this is some of it Mike Woodson, but some is not. They're playing their last matchups here when they've played head-to-head. They played last year at Indiana. Indiana won by 6. The spread was 4.5, so they barely covered. Rutgers blew them out by 15 at home. They were a 3-point underdog. Rutgers won at Indiana. They were a 5-point underdog. They won outright. Rutgers won by favored by 2.5, won by 11 at home. Rutgers won by 11 at home on the road, favored by 3.5. Rutgers plays well. They're tough. They're defensive oriented, and they need this game. I don't like Indiana. I haven't liked Indiana all year. I don't know this idea that he's going to go with an excessively big team. I don't like their backcourt at all. I don't trust Galloway, any of those guys. Indiana had the win over Ohio State at home. Congratulations. They lost by 14 Nebraska, and playing at Rutgers is really, really tough. Yes, Steve Peichel has struggled. His team has struggled on offense. Yes, they're shooting under 30% three-point range. Yes, they can't make free throws. However, their interior defense inside the arc is absolutely phenomenal, is top 10 in the country. And what does Indiana do? They score 59% of their points inside the arc. That's top 20 in the country. Indiana's the scoring side. Indiana's not great from shooting from the outside. That's the strength of the Rutgers defense. Rutgers going to be fired up. Jersey Mike's Arena, the Rack, whatever you want to call it. I like Rutgers today here at home. Have to go over to New York for me to bet it, but I like it. I'm on the border. I'm very happy. Ball State plus 7.5 against Akron. Akron can be very tough, and they've been strong in the MAC. And Akron is off to a 2-0 start. They beat Northern Illinois. They beat Bowling Green. Not great on defense. Also turned the ball over a lot. Here comes Ball State with Mike Lewis, having lost 4 games in a row. Indiana State, Minnesota, Kent State, Central Michigan. They're 0-2 in the Mid-America Conference. They need this game. They are home. You're going to get a desperate Ball State team. Again, this is the theme that we've seen this year. Parity. Teams that are at home, that are getting points, that are desperate. It's very hard for me to fade. You have to give me a reason to like favorites and lay that many points when they're on the road. I am taking Ball State plus 7.5. Not one of my top picks, but that's a lot of points. I'm going to take it. The fate of West Virginia is going to continue. I admit this is a little frisky because Kansas State is not a team that I'm really thrilled about. They're very up and down. They've been inconsistent, but still no Jesse Edwards in this game. Don't like the way West Virginia is going. I have faded Josh Eilert. He did a nice job early on, but they're not turning you over. They're not shooting great from three-point range. They're not shooting great from inside the arc, and they're not great on the boards. They got destroyed by Houston. We got that one on Saturday. We got the first half line. We got the full game line. They lost on neutral to Ohio State. They have played well at home, but I think Kansas State, under Jerome Tang, has sort of righted the ship here, pounded UCF. Chicago State won, lackluster. Wichita State on a neutral. They are 1-0 here in the Big 12. I think you get a big effort here against West Virginia. I am still selling West Virginia. We sold them against UMass. We sold them against Radford. We sold them against Ohio State. We sold them against Houston. Things are trending in our direction. They are 5-9 under Josh Eilert. They're struggling. I understand that they're excited about the return of Raekwon Battle, and Raekwon Battle has done very well, and he scored a ton of points. He's had 29, 24. Houston shut him down, so maybe if you want to go with Battles over, I talked to Mike Kutry and asked him what he thinks about that tonight. That's fine. I'm taking Kansas State to win one. It's not going to be comfortable. It's going to be back and forth. I'm taking Kansas State. Alabama laying big points against South Carolina. That's minus 11.5 against South Carolina. South Carolina needs to control the pace, and I just don't think they can do it at Alabama. I love what they've done so far this year. Alabama's going to get up and down the floor. They're going to shoot threes. They're shooting 40%, 55%. They're great on offense. They have tremendous pace. South Carolina, under Lamont Paris, plays at one of the slowest paces in college basketball. They need this pace to go their way. I don't think they can do it at Alabama. I just don't. They're 13-1, South Carolina. They're 1-0 in the SEC. You're not going to get overlooked by Alabama here. I like Alabama in this matchup. Beat Vanderbilt. Nice game against Liberty. They have Mississippi State coming up, but no big rivalry look-aheads. I don't think South Carolina can control this pace. That's my issue. I am taking Alabama laying the points against South Carolina. Don't believe in Rhode Island. Archie Miller's trying here, and I'm not a Davidson guy, but I like Davidson laying the points here, especially coming off a loss at home against Dayton. So you're going to get a maximum effort here from Davidson. They're great inside the arc, very efficient offense. Rhode Island has struggled. They cannot make free throws, Rhode Island. And I've pounded this home to you guys over the last few shows. I don't want to take teams to cover on the road in college basketball that cannot make their free throws. 60.5% for Rhode Island from the free throw line. They had a nice win at home against St. Joe's. They're in a little bit of a two-game winning streak. Congratulations. I think Davidson gets this one and gets the cover here against Rhode Island. Believe in Kentucky. I believe in Kentucky all year. Calipari, what he has going on is incredible. The players, Dillingham, the shooting. I know the three-point shooting is going to regress at some point. I talked about this with Mike Kutry. We were looking at Florida, but they found a way. Missouri is not the team that's going to do it here. Kentucky has been rolling, super efficient on offense. Depth. He has a ton of depth. He brings them in and out off the court all the time, and he's just rolling. They're great on the boards. They don't turn the ball over. They're number 2 in the country at offensive turnover percentage. Missouri lost at home to Georgia. That's abysmal. I don't think this is the matchup here. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I like Kentucky with laying the points there. Let's get to some questions that are popping up here. Let's go through it. Not even Pitts. Wow, Ben. Pittsnoggle. What a call by you. Pittsnoggle, West Virginia right now. Very good. Been very disappointing. It is a great reference, Colby. What a tremendous player. Trevor, I'm going to get to this one in a little bit. I get it. And I think they would have beat North Carolina. In fact, we'll do this one right now. I think they would have beat North Carolina, Pittsburgh, if not for the horrific shooting, just the catastrophic shooting. You want to see some of that North Carolina's defense? That's fine. But they were absolutely horrific here. So I'll get to that one right now. Let's jump around, guys. For the people, of course. I am taking Pittsburgh plus 5.5 against Duke. Jeff Capel has to have this game. That's exactly right. He's on the hot seat. They should have had the North Carolina game. They just shot incredibly poorly. They played North Carolina. They shot 5 of 29 from three-point range. And Blake Hinson, again, flammable score, 2 of 11 from three-point range. If they get any sort of normal shooting, they cover that game or they win. They had a nice bounce back away against Louisville. I think the bigs will be ready. I don't trust Duke to cover big numbers on the road. I think the matchup is good. Pittsburgh's great on the defensive boards. Duke is great on the defensive boards. Pittsburgh is great at shutting down threes because their length bothers teams on the outside. You have a Duke team that's shooting 37% from three-point range. I think they disrupt that. I just think it's too many points. I thought it was too many points with Duke. 14 and a half, I guess it was. 14 and a half points against North Carolina. That was crazy to me. They almost lost that one. Pittsburgh needs this game badly. I am taking them. Other questions popping up. Yeah, Ben, I don't have a read on New Mexico UNLV. I don't, because UNLV had that monster game against Creighton, and they kind of threw me off a little bit. And New Mexico is still trying to get healthy. I like New Mexico and the three-guard alignment and everything goes on there. I try to get healthy. That one I'm staying away from. I don't have anything on that one. That is a no play for me. Duke is Capel's kryptonite. Kobe, we'll see. I get it. A home game, I think it's huge. Hinson was catastrophic, guys, in that game. Oh, my God, he was bad. Okay, let's get to a couple more, and then we'll get out of here. I like Cincinnati against Texas. You guys know I've been fading Texas all year, and I'm fading them still here. They have not been great on the road, Texas. They have not been a team that has played well. They're not great against the spread either. I just think there's going to be natural regression. I think there's an adjustment period. Rodney Terry took over last year. That was a team last year when they started that was Chris Beard's team. And then he ended up riding it and did a fantastic job. But this year, they've struggled to get Max Abmas involved. Tyrese Hunter has been hurt. Dylan DeStew is still trying to get back into the swing. Texas ended up losing at home to Texas Tech. Even with all the stuff Texas Tech has going on, Pop Isaacs right now, they pretty much lost that game from start to finish. Really concerning. But they have not covered big spreads. They've not been a team that's been fantastic at covering spreads. Louisville on a neutral, didn't cover against Rice. There's been opportunities here. And when their offense is clicking is great. I don't see them going into Cincinnati with Wes Miller's team, who is great, number 2 in the country in defensive boards. That's fantastic. That has some dynamic players with Jizzle James, who I love. Locked in. All those guys are great. They are coming off a big win at BYU, an 11-point win at BYU. I thought BYU would win that game. I was wrong. They're defensively, they're great. On the offensive boards, they're great. And at home, they're going to be really good. They've lost 2 games this year, Cincinnati. They lost to Xavier. That's the rivalry game. And they lost a semi-home to Dayton. This is a good Cincinnati team. Texas is coming in. People are going to see the number next to Texas. They're going to see the number 20 and say, oh, I'll take the points. I like Cincinnati here. This number is dropping. I got it at 4 this morning. It could be down a little lower. Look, Houston is phenomenal, is having one of, if not the greatest defensive season that we've ever seen in college basketball, just locking teams down. However, the regression is coming at some point. They're not going to dominate like that from start to finish, especially with an offense that can go through spouts of struggling. I mean, they're only shooting 66.8% from the free throw line, Houston. So Houston, 14-0, 1-0, took West Virginia to the woodshed and crushed them. I believe in Iowa State here. I believe in Hilton Magic. I believe in Otzelberger coming off a loss away at Oklahoma. You're going to get their best effort. I think it's a coin flip game. I think Houston could easily lose this game. They got TCU. They got Texas Tech. They got a tough gauntlet coming. So they're elite defensively. There's no one better on defense than Houston. I just think the 4 points is too much, and I'm going to take them at home. A little bit of a letdown here. And I'm not an Oklahoma State guy, but I'm not ready to say that Texas Tech has figured everything out. I still think there's going to be some looming stuff. This is a lot of points at home against Oklahoma State, who's still good defensively. They can shoot the 3. I like Oklahoma State getting a lot of points here. The game's at Texas Tech. They're getting a lot of points, but I just think it's a little bit of a letdown spot. This isn't one of my favorite plays tonight, but Oklahoma State getting 9 at Texas Tech, with Texas Tech playing slow with their deliberate pace, seems like a lot, especially coming off of Texas here. I love Colorado State. I really do, and I'm getting ridiculed for this pick. I just think at some point, guys, they're going to struggle. Boise State here at home, Leon Rice, feels like they're the king of the Mountain West, a really good Mountain West, by the way, this year. You could look at the Mountain West. They could get San Diego State, Utah State, Nevada, and then Boise State. Could they get 5 teams? Could we have 5? Could we get 6 with New Mexico? Really good Mountain West team here. I just think this is a bit too much. Colorado State's coming off the loss to Utah State, so they're going to be ready for this game. Isaiah Stevens is amazing, but winning on the road, Boise State is always tough. They're 1-0. They had a big comeback win against San Jose State. I don't know about this one. I like Boise State getting the 1.5. I will take them here in this matchup. Utah State is a phenomenal team, especially at home. They can score. And the problem with this game is that Wyoming is going in the wrong direction. Utah State has the nation's second longest winning streak at 13 games. They are top 20 in the country at defending the 3, which Wyoming is going to want to put up. They're great inside the arc on offense. Danny Sprinkle has done a fantastic job. He's bringing Asabor over, who's just a monster they can't stop. And Wyoming is going the wrong way. Wyoming is lost 3 of their last 4. They lost away at UTEP. They lost away at BYU big. They lost away at New Mexico big. They're struggling away from home. They have yet to win a game under Jeff Linder this year for Wyoming away from home. Lost to Texas by 23, lost away at Portland by 11, lost away at UTEP by 11, lost to BYU by basically 30, lost to New Mexico by 17. This isn't the spot, not at Utah State, not when it's really hard to win there. Don't like it at all. I don't know why this game is 6.5 points. I think David Stoudemire is going through a growth period right now where he's trying to adjust. I would not want to stand in front of this Notre Dame team that is playing super well. You knew Micah Shrewsbury was going to get things right. He sure as heck has. Marist at home, they won by 4. That was sort of the one that got them over the hump. Then they beat Virginia at home by 22. They shoot well. They lost at home to NC State, but they did cover by 2. Last second shot by DJ Burns. And then they lost to Duke by 8, but that game was a 1-possession game with about 2 minutes left. This team is playing better. They're playing hard for him. They're 1-3. There's a big difference between 2-3 and 1-4 in the ACC. I like Micah Shrewsbury's team. Yes, Georgia Tech's going to give a big effort because they lost 3 straight games in a row, Nevada, Florida State, and Boston College, but they're still only shooting 66% from the free throw line. They're still shooting under 30% from three-point range. And I think that Damon Stoudemire, after an 8-3 start, after being really strong here for a team doesn't turn over, I think there's a coaching advantage of Micah Shrewsbury. I think it's too many points. I will take them there as well. A couple games left. We're taking Nebraska plus 7.5 against Purdue. Nebraska has done very well at home. They're very difficult to play here, and it's been a fantastic start to the year. So they're coming off the loss to Wisconsin. That was their 16-point loss. Before that, they were 12-2. They were 2-1. They are great at defending inside the arc. They do have some size inside as well. Rink Mast should be able to play very well tonight. Coming off, he was hurt for a while. He was out for 2 games. He came back. He actually played 33 minutes the other night, had 16.6 rebounds. He's critical inside. Hopefully he can slow Edey a little bit. I want to see Purdue on the road again. Purdue was on the road against Maryland. That was a nice win, but remember they did lose away at Northwestern. So this is only their 3rd true road game of the year. Nebraska can be very tough at home. They've battled this team before Nebraska, and they've done fairly well. Last year, they played them at home, Purdue, and they did well. Now they're going on the road. I just think it's too many points, and I believe that Nebraska is going to have a big bounce back tonight. I think they'll do very, very well. And the last one here, I know Mike Kuchar's on this one as well. I support it. Texas A&M versus Auburn. Boy, that Auburn second half was just phenomenal against Arkansas. Superior job. However, you're dealing with Buzz Williams, dealing with another great defensive coach. Slow game. Auburn's going to want to run. Texas A&M can battle. And if Texas A&M gets into trouble when they're struggling, you know that they can get bailed out. I love this Texas A&M team, and I think they are a very big dark horse when you get into tournament play. But you look at a player like Wade Taylor, who can absolutely carry you and take games over. Had 34 against Houston in a semi-away game. You score 34 points against Houston, that defense, you can certainly score enough to cover here against Auburn. So I like Texas A&M today in a slow game. Yes, they're away. Yes, Auburn's been fantastic. They look great. Buzz Williams not going to want to start 0-2 in the conference, so I am going with them getting 7.5 points in this matchup. Love it here today. Let's get a couple questions, then we will get out of here. Nebraska has given them trouble, Trevor. I think Hoiberg's a good coach. I think he's going to have them ready. The Wisconsin game just got away from them. Williams has smashed the like button. Please, as always, hit that like button. Subscribe to us as well. Favorite play today, Ben, if I had to pick one, what is my favorite play? I like Cincinnati against Texas a lot. I feel very comfortable with that one. I feel really comfortable with Rutgers. I love Rutgers coming off some losses and needing the win at home here against Indiana. And I also like Pittsburgh. So if I had to give you 3 in order, I would say I really like Rutgers a lot. I would say I really like Cincinnati. And number 3 there, I would go with Pittsburgh plus 5.5. Those would be my plays. Anything else here? Mike's on Iowa State plus 3. Yeah, I love Houston. 3 may not be enough. I just think at some point everyone regresses. We've seen it in college basketball. Purdue has regressed. Michigan State regressed the other night. So whenever I get those situations, I'm just going to go the other way. That's what I'm looking at. So there you go, folks. There's the picks. Appreciate it. Like, subscribe. I will be back to you later this week. I think we'll come back on Thursday. I'll let you know. I think it's either Thursday or Friday. And, of course, we have the Saturday show at 10:30, which, of course, you don't want to miss. 10:30, big slates on Saturday. There is nothing better. Thank you, as always, Mike Randle. Folks, appreciate you. College basketball is here. 7-1 the last 2 days. Let's see if we can get to the window tonight.